Hi and welcome to my pallet takedown video. I'm going to show you how I use different, well, very unconventional methods, I suppose, to take apart a pallet. I don't have a pallet pal. I don't have any real special tools, just the usual tools that you would have in your workshop if you've been doing some woodwork or any other work over the years. And you'll see I have a very violent way of doing things. And yeah, I'll explain that as I go through the video. The video is about 28 minutes long, and I will let you know the different times when you can skip ahead, because all I'm going to be doing is showing you the same thing over and over again, and just different ways of doing it. So let me just say first of all that I'm just demonstrating what happens when I try and take apart the pallet. Now, first of all, you'll see that I've used two chocks, and I put those chocks under one of the pallet boards and knocked the pallet board down, and knocked the pallet board out just by stamping down hard on it. The shock, I think, is enough to rip the nails away, or rip the board away from rip the top board away from the stringer, and that seems to work okay. Now, as I've just demonstrated, if you try and do too many at once, it will not work. There's too many nails at play there, and too many different boards that you're trying to get rid of at once. So the trick with this method is to do it one by one. And you'll see now I'm actually having to straddle the bottom boards because I can't get the chocks in there to push down on. So you see I've got the chocks. I chock the pallet up so that when I stamp down, there's that room for the nails to give and come out. And so I've already done that second board on the right there. So to get the end, or the lead board off, the top lead board, then or lead top board if you will, to get that one out, I will move it straight over to that one and then go into the next one. There's the bottom board in the way again, so I straddle it with my chocks, and then using my other piece of, well, it's an X stringer, I call it the Judas goat, and the X stringer is now taking apart another pallet. It's like cannibalism in a way, and I like that fact. It's a way of doing the of using it against itself, and further meeting its destruction. So I'm now just moving along the pallet, and yeah, it can be a bit fiddly sometimes. I'm not really in any rush. I could probably do this in faster time, but I'm not really that fast. I just want to get the boards out in as good condition as possible, and I do find this method is the most effective depending on the type of pallet. So basically, if I break a board, I'm not fussed. I believe that that board was meant to break, and I'm not going to use it if it's going to be that structurally unsound just from being ripped out of a pallet. Now here's another one of my tools, just a standard axe. It's a bit rainy today, it's all wet, and I use the axe for that further shock, because sometimes my foot will hurt if I'm trying to push down on it. You'll see I'm using standard safety issue thongs. These are standard issue in Australia, and I'm using some basic gloves. So gloves are very handy, of course, for splinters. I know there's blokes who think you're too macho to wear a glove, and that's okay. They can have all the blisters and calluses they want and enjoy their pain. Now I'm just getting the other end of the pallet done there. One sharp blow and usually does the trick. So far so good. Looks like I've only got one, that right hand top board there next to the lead top board. Looks like it's the only one that's got a bit of a split. Now you can see my very clever charades there. I'm trying to say that no, do not try and bash the pallet and knock the nails out on the side that you've just knocked out, because all you're going to do is you're probably going to just break the board in half. You're using the extra torsion of the other pallet there, but before I do that, I'm just going to show you how easy it is to get the other end off. You can get more of a view from this other side, from the other side, and you're not looking at my bum all the time. So again, oops, it can be pretty tough sometimes. You might need to stamp down with those top quality thongs. Now, next one over. If you're getting bored of looking at this part, you can skip ahead to the 10th minute and watch me take the nails out. I mean, I can tell you now, it's all endless excitement as you do this. And punch it up, and look at that one, done it through the middle, and that's taken that board out nicely. So of course the easier ones to get are the ones which aren't blocked by the bottom boards. So now I've just got to manipulate and move the boards around and just slowly go through the motions. I'm trying to be as methodical as possible, and you can see I'm back to the middle now, and I'm going to have a go of that other middle. But what I should have probably thought of is doing that end board first, but it doesn't really matter with this type of wood. It's very fragile, as most pallets are. And again, I'm not too fussed if I lose a board, because if I lose that board, well, it doesn't matter. It's probably not meant to be used anyway. But you can see I'm getting some pretty good results out of this. And I didn't know how this video was going to turn out when I started doing it, because it was a method I'd struck upon that I thought was, well, it was worth sharing, because it seemed to yield the best results. You'll see how many wasted boards I get by the end of the video. Now I'm just going for a double whammy here, just to again show how easy it is to do this, and using my brute strength I can just rip that board out at the end, which is already half off anyway. Now these pallets are coming out pretty easy. This is not hardwood we're using. It's like a pine. It's a fairly good quality pallet actually. I was pretty impressed with the wood that was coming out of it, and I think it's a relatively new pallet too. So it's almost like a single-use one. These plain wooden ones in Australia, once they're used, they're generally just thrown out. It's more bother than they're worth returning to the guys who make them. Alright, so keep on playing, or you can skip to the end. You might see some opportunities for me to hurt myself here, but I'm pretty sure I don't. As I said, those construction quality thongs are protecting me pretty well. I've got a pickaxe in the background as well, which you'll find that I don't use. I do use it on occasion. On this occasion, the boards are that fragile, I believed, that the pickaxe would have broken or split the boards. Now the other advantage of this method is that it automatically spreads the blow every time I use my foot or the axe. It spreads the blow across the whole end of the board, so it's softening the impact for that board, which I think spreads out that impact and doesn't split it. So if I'm trying to pry up one side of this, I will split it. I'm pretty sure I'll split it. So I tried to think of a way to do it so that I could get as many boards as I could in half decent condition, and especially these ones, because they do look fairly new. I'm not sure if being humid and being in the rain was a factor, whether that helped soften the nail holes up a little bit or something, but definitely not the ones under the boards, in the stringers, and I don't think that would have been a factor. So I'm nearly at the end of this part, and as you can see, if I can't get it with one or two stamps, I'll use the back of my axe there as a heavy mallet or a hammer. It does pretty well there. Trusty axe has been around for quite a while. Yeah, and usually a couple of blows will just take care of those. So I've almost gotten all the top boards off. If you've been bored already, then you would have skipped ahead to the 10th minute, which is coming up in a moment. I've just got the other end one to go, and you can see I'm not too fussed. I'm pretty cash about it. I'm not too worried about breaking any speed records and getting pallets done in 12 minutes or whatever, because there's still nails to come, and you know, and that's time consuming, and again, a little bit of care to be taken when you're taking the nails out of the pallets. Alright, last couple of blows here, and it rips out the whole thing for us, and it's still intact. So you can see how the blow of the axe or of the foot and having blow spread out underneath the ends or the middle of the pallet allows the board to stay intact. Now I've got an old school crowbar here. The crowbar is pretty good. It's I can reach down with it, and I don't have to bend over with it. So I'm not breaking my back by using this crowbar. The end of it's sort of slightly worn, so a lot of these nail heads do slip out occasionally, or it could be just my action is pretty bad. I use the crowbar. You can see behind my foot there I've got a pry tool and also a claw hammer. These are handy, however you don't get the what's the word? You don't get the torsion. You don't get the torque from the leverage that you get from the length of that crowbar. So, yes, very, very good point. I'm just highlighting to the camera there that always pick up the nails and get the nails, especially if you are working on a driveway. And anyone who's ever had a slow leak puncture from driving over a nail will attest to that. Saving myself some good money there. Now the crowbar, while I get that good leverage, it also takes the nails out quite slowly, so I don't break too many heads of the nails. And this is important, so you do get a nail-free piece of wood. On these you'll see I do get one or two little pieces. Get that nail, good lad, good lad. And you'll see I get one or two pieces, or one or two nails left behind, and I just hammer those through. I'm not going to be too concerned about it when I'm using this wood. If it's going to be a problem, I'll get rid of it then. Well, another Judas-goat coming in, and this one is a bit of pallet that I've just kept as a bit of a seat, or a bit of leverage I can use, putting under the boards. And you can see I'm going to try for all four here, so let's see how we go. As you can see, I'm getting pretty cocky about the whole situation with everything working so well, and it is going quite well, I must admit. So yep, no, foot's not going to work because I'm trying to break 4 pallets off at the same time, and yes, illustration for the camera, I am hurting my foot by doing that, so I'm not going to do it. A couple of bashes will take care of it. And at this stage, because those boards are spread out, I'll be able to get those off. Now the stringers I do use. I do like the stringers because they're just as good as normal bits of 4x2 in some cases, and they are definitely not as strong as good quality 4x2s that you get at the hardware store, but they're pretty good, and I'm definitely going to be using those in projects in the future. So that was the first one out, and you'll see again I'm just going to keep going through and taking care of all that again. So now I'm trying to get the last 2 remaining stringers. If you want to fast forward, you can to about 15 minutes 20, and you'll get to see me take more nails out of those stringers. So it's all very, very exciting stuff at the moment. Still going? Yeah, still going. The piece of timber I'm just getting through now, you'll see me indicate in a moment, it is a piece that was right on the edge of the tree trunk. So that's actually part of the tree trunk. You can see that was close to the bark, I suppose, when they did take that tree out. And you'll probably see me indicate this in a moment, but it's not a bad. Oh yes, it's bad wood, but it will still be usable. Look, I'm not going to be using any of this for any high-grade construction. Might make a few boxes, shelf framing, and that sort of stuff. But I'm not going to use it in a situation where it's going to break under some sort of tension. Finally, getting the last stringer off. It's a fairly brutal method, but it is quite effective. That's it. No, I'm not going to bother with that end one, so let's have a look at these other 2. And if I give that a good blow right in the middle, yes, we'll get those 2 off. And and then it'll be short and easy work for me to get those other two off. The last blow. So now I've got those stringers off, and I've got those bottom boards off. I'm going to denail these guys. So if you want to watch this is relatively exciting, but you can skip ahead to minute 20, and then you'll see me pop the nails out of the main boards. Didn't get too many heads breaking off. I do have experience of heads breaking off the nails when you're trying to get them off, and sometimes it doesn't matter if I'm using the crowbar to gently ease them out, or I am using, oh yeah, well look at that, watch me step on these things and just knock them over. It's pretty funny. I'll do it again soon. And the nails come out pretty easily with the crowbar, as I said before, but yeah, there's not too many that break off, and I think I only had 2 or 3 on this one anyway. So I'll slowly ease those nails out and get them going. What I'm hoping to do with all this timber, and I've busted up about 20 pallets with a purpose in mind, is I'm going to be using some of the more heavy duty boards, which are about 15 mils thick. There are some hardwood ones out there. I'm going to be using that as flooring for a shed, and the rest of these pallet boards I'm going to use as cladding for a shed, because I've worked out it's going to be a heap cheaper to do a nice wooden design of the walls on the outside, and rather than using a bit of corrugated iron, because the corrugated iron is pretty expensive. It's going to cost me close to $1,000 to do a 5 metre by 3 metre shed, whereas this is free timber. So I figured, well, I don't mind using my drill, and I don't mind using a screwdriver drill, so I can do that and put some cladding on. I'm just going to be paying for a heap of nails, which is going to be a darn sight cheaper than paying $1,000 for the corrugated iron. So that is the purpose of it, and the stringers I'm going to use for building some shelves and some cross beams in the framing, but probably not the actual framing itself, unless I find a good way to secure them, or to secure 2.4 metre lengths out of these, which, I mean, they are 1.2 metres long, but the timber is not flush hot, so some of it I might be able to use, some of it I definitely wouldn't use. I can definitely use it for some shelving or some other aspects inside a shed. So now I've nearly got all the nails out, and like I said, if you skip ahead to pick number 20 or minute number 20, you will find me knocking nails out of the boards, which is pretty exciting if you love this sort of stuff. And I do keep all the nails. I've kept all the nails in a milk jug, and I've got about a 3/4 full 3 litre milk jug full of nails from previous pallets. I knock all the nails out and I pick them all up and keep them hanging. Some of the nails are reusable. I mean, I might even use them in the shed, I don't know. But look, waste not, want not. Some of the nails are pretty good, some of them are fairly rusted, so they're pretty far gone. And you'll see just from this pallet that I have got about 1 square metre of very usable wood. If I'm going to use this as cladding or floorboards, I'll just polyfill some of the holes in it, and then I'm going to sand it all back in situ. So my intention is to lay the floorboards down, rough as they are, and then get a belt sander onto it, and then sand away, and then smooth it down, and of course countersink all the screws that I use, and sand it down so it's a fairly consistent floor, and then possibly varnish it, or just put some sort of floor covering on it. But I think some of this timber will make good floorboards. It is pretty sturdy. You can see that my methods haven't really split it. Oop, I left one of the chocks behind, as you can see by the little raised bow there. We'll take that out. So I've got a few nails to get out here. So this is the exciting part for me. I don't mind getting the nails out. Or there's me testing it as floorboards, and with about 50 mil, 40, 50, 45 mil between the 45 to 50 mil between my floorboard, what do you call them, joists, I'll probably be pretty alright if I'm going to use these as floorboards. But it's a matter of getting another, what are we looking at, 15 pallets worth of these types of boards, and that's not going to be easy. It's going to take some time. Hope you stick around for the for any other videos I put up. I'm going to sort of record the journey as we go, and this one is pretty much the starter. This is probably I think it's the 18th pallet I've pulled apart, and my method has worked really well. I've got a stack of wood from it, and I'm just going to keep going. I've almost gotten to the point where I enjoy taking the pallets apart and learning how to actually knock nails properly out of the boards. And you can see here the skills are getting slightly better. And I'll tell you what, right now, that hammer, I have no idea where it is right now. I think I might have accidentally thrown it in the bin with a bunch of boards cut off from a previous pallet takedown. So, RIP hammer. I'm going to have a brand new hammer probably in the next video. So now it's just knocking down all these nails so I can turn the boards over and use my axe again. You can see this is a 28-minute video, so I'll be spending about 8 minutes pulling out all of these nails, which is not a bad little record. Again, if you want to, you can stop watching. All I'm really going to do is knock out these nails, spin them over, rip them out, and show off all the usable boards I've got. I think I lost one on this one. You can see the split part of that one right next to the video, but I think it might have been a lead board that was made up of too short or too thin thinner boards. But I can't remember. I'll have to go and have a look at all the stuff I've done. Well, there we go. There you have it. I'll leave that to you, and if you want to subscribe to this new channel, that'd be awesome. Please share, and I'll see if I can make any other videos. I was going to time lapse some parts of it, but I just wanted to show the true time that it takes to get some of these done using tools that you can use in your garage that you would likely have. Definitely recommend the axe as a bit of a shock weapon. Definitely recommend the industrial grade thongs that I'm wearing, and you can only get those in Australia. I'm sorry for anyone viewing in other countries. And the pickaxe, I will show you how that might work in another video. That's usually reserved for the more heavy duty boards. These boards, I would say, are probably medium quality, and they are probably going to be okay for using as floorboards. And here I am taking out all of those nails. So stay to the bitter end and you'll see me pack up in a moment. Good luck and enjoy.
Split.